Hello.
Hi guys. Hey Letty. We are live.
All good.
We're
How are
good.
you?
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing very well. Excited for our little chat.
Yeah. So welcome to everyone watching. This is our first Talk by Heart. This is the first Wild Within Talk by Heart, and Letty is our first ever guest. So we're very excited, a little bit nervous, really open to just going with the flow. So see what happens. Join us on this ride. Let's see how the next 30 minutes goes. If you are watching this on replay, please hit us up in the comments. Let us know what resonated with you. Let us know how you're feeling about it. Letty. So why Letty? So I actually did Letty's mindful meditation this morning, which is delicious. I was telling you about it, wasn't I?
You do it most Mondays. Is it Mondays?
Yeah, I started doing it the last kind of month. And so Letty's been holding space every Monday morning from 9 to 9:30. She holds a mindful meditation, and it's free and it's on Zoom. And I'm sure Letty can tell you about it a bit more, in more detail later. And you can also find details on her website, which is body.by.letty.com. And I went to that this morning, and it really sorted me out this morning before I got into my full, day of doing. And it's unlike any other meditation I've ever been to, honestly. So if you are into meditation, or if you feel like you need a practice which centers you, or a practice which speaks to you, I guess, in a more practical way, then I would definitely recommend Letty's meditation. But my relationship with Letty goes back further than that. So we were just talking about this actually. We met over 10 years ago. Letty, you were at Laban, weren't you? Laban.
I was, yeah.
Conservatoire for dance. And I had just joined Element Dance Company, which is run by Ella Mesmer. And then Letty, you joined the company, right? Because you met Ella.
Yeah. You guys were already there. I think I came as an add-on.
What kind of dance were you guys doing?
Samba.
I love Samba. I learned a bit of Samba with you last year in the lockdown.
Yeah, you did.
You know, in lockdown time, I was just learning everything. And I was like, what have I always wanted to do? Samba. And it was amazing. Took forever to get the legs going. The legs weren't going. But I got there. I still need to do my arms though.
Yeah, we still need to have more sessions.
Yeah, we will.
We will. Okay, good. Yes. So Letty and I met then, and I remember you then, Letty, as well, being super inspiring, and I remember being really inspired by the way you move. And then we kind of like lost touch in between, for Big Gap, and then I don't know, just the way the universe works, like we somehow came back into each other's awareness. And a lot of what Letty does really resonates with me, really speaks to Wild Within as well, doesn't it? And so we really wanted to get her on Talk by Heart, because we really wanted to dive a little bit deeper into who she is, why she does what she does, look at what we can learn from her, what you guys can learn from her, how we can learn from each other. And we knew it'd just be a really beautiful space to hold. So we are here, and we're excited. Before we go into the questions, guys, if you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please subscribe now. Yeah, who knows when they do those.
Can you see us? Are we frozen?
You're frozen on my side. I can hear you very clearly though.
How do we unfreeze?
Oh, we're frozen, guys. The technical difficulties have started.
Though you both look very lovely.
Thanks, Letty.
Shall I turn it off and on again?
Yeah, we're just going to switch that camera off and switch back on.
We can hear you very, very clearly.
Amazing.
Awesome.
So yeah, if you're not subscribed to our YouTube, please subscribe. All the socials. So Letty, you can find Letty on Instagram. You can see on the screen here on @body.by.letty. You can also find her on her website, www.body.by.letty.com. You can find us on Instagram at We Are Wild Within, and then you can also find us on our website and join our wild community at www.wearewildwithin.com. Anything else that we want to share?
Well, for those of us that don't really know much about Wild Within, like the both of us, we want to explore well-being through the pillars of ritual, movement, and nourishment and rest. And we believe that everyone has the right to feel good and the innate ability to heal, and do so in a space which feels safe for them and reflects them as well.
Absolutely.
That's kind of what we're all about, and just finding joy in our healing process as we go on. So that's what we do.
Beautifully said.
Let's see if this video thing's working again. No,
we're frozen. This is amazing. We're just frozen in time.
But it's okay.
Till that decides it wants to work. Let's just jump straight in. So,
Absolutely.
Letty, do you want to tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Of course. So I didn't actually want to prepare anything for this because I thought it was really interesting just to get asked these questions and see what I say. Who am I? So I find it hard to put myself in titles. So I am at the moment, I'm a yoga teacher. Yoga being very generalized as well. I apply yoga in anything I do. So I teach about flow, I teach about mindfulness, I teach meditation, and more so over the last year, I have been emphasizing the more of the meditation and mindfulness side. I think prior to lockdown, my classes were quite dynamic, and I did talk about the theory a lot of it, but I just had this intuition that this is that I needed. And also I had this kind of real feeling that actually more of us needed the time of stillness, self-reflection, and self kind of nurturing, those kind of tools we needed the last year. So this is what I've been concentrating on. In terms of background, so I've been teaching yoga for about 8-9 years now. Prior to that, I used to, as Amma said, I used to be a dancer. More on I think I enjoyed more of the kind of somatic and the improvisation kind of way of moving. I think what happened in terms of my career, I was heavy in the dance and the performing. And then I took a yoga teacher training, and the yoga went off for me in terms of my career. But for some reason, in the last couple of years, for some reason, I kind of realized, but where was my creativity? Like, I am a dancer, I am an artist. And for some reason, I don't know, obviously it's my own stuff, but for some reason, I felt that yoga had to be boxed in a certain way, and that's how I had to deliver it. And then the more I got into yoga as a lifestyle, I realized that's bloody ridiculous. Actually, my uniqueness and everybody's uniqueness is their yoga, right? And why was I inhibiting and why was I stagnating my creativity and the way that I want to theorize something, that I want to say something? And I guess the last year and stuff, I've just decided to drop all those labels and boundaries. And now I feel really confident in my classes. I just speak whatever needs to be said in the moment. And that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. I feel it's quite interesting because I'm getting a lot of people at the moment like coming to me and in certain issues and situations saying, you're so confident and you're so outspoken and you can just live like this and you're so free. It's been a process, 10 years of hard shadow work, to be able to get to the point where I can say I can speak and share, and I'm confident in my own voice. And I also recognize that, my voice is not for the whole world. Maybe it's for 5 people, maybe it's for one person, and that's important. So kind of in a kind of blubbly nutshell, that's what I do at the moment.
That was amazing, honestly. And I think as well, when we tap into our authentic selves and our creativity, enhances our work, you know.
Yeah.
Being able to be you, authentically you, and not trying to mold what you're doing to fix like a dominant narrative, or, you know, what it looks like, what it's supposed to look like.
Because all of that is ingrained Western
Yeah.
that is being put in your head and your ears since you were born. So
Yeah.
it's not about shame, and it's not about blame or like looking, oh my God, why was I like that? It's about slowly waking up to the idea that, or questioning some of the things that we've been taught, or we believing, or we should.
Yeah.
And having the space and the time to be like, all of those shoulds, where do they actually come from? You know what I mean? Why? And it's just for the momentum of the London lifestyle. I'm a Londoner. And this is why I talk about it a lot, because I know what the fast paced kind of go. I've been a Londoner my whole life. That's great in a certain way, but we need to provide kind of the questioning. And the questioning comes in stillness, comes in a little bit of pausing. And the answers just arise when we're still.
Yeah, I agree with that massively.
I found that as well. Like when we take time to stop and listen and listen deeply, then the answers kind of bubble up and present themselves.
They're literally there.
Yeah, we just need to
and
listen.
I'm like literally so confident to say this now, because I feel like the confidence has stemmed through lived experience of dealing with certain issues and overcoming them my own way, and knowing that we are connected. And although we sometimes think that we're so alone and it's just about me and I'm only going through the same thing, actually no.
Yeah.
There's a billion people out there, and the way that I overcome my depression actually may be helpful to some people.
Yeah.
The way that I kind of see it is that I'm not here to say this is Bible, this is black and white. I'm here to say there are a few things that I'm interested that's helped me. I'm confident in speaking of that because I know that it's helped me. And maybe it will help you, you know?
Yeah. Yes. This is, sorry, no, go on.
I want to ask, like, how have you like navigated your experience in your field or your industry as a person in a brown body, or like however you'd self-identify? How has that been for you?
I have so many of these conversations. So the thing is, on reflection of this year and the kind of momentum behind Black Lives Matter, I've really allowed myself to reflect, because what can I start? I recognize on reflection that although I knew I was often the only brown person in my teacher trainings, in my courses, in my classes, because I had a desire to want to learn, and I'm not a very, very shy person. So while I had confidence in myself to some degree, I just did these courses and I went to the classes. But there isn't a representation in terms of many people of color teaching yoga, which is crazy.
Yeah.
When we understand the origin of where it comes from.
Yeah.
Right. Then you got in the mix the wellness industry. So you're trying to put yoga in the wellness industry, which is smothered in its own unconscious bias and conscious bias.
Yeah.
In terms of what are they doing it for? Who are they marketing to? How are they going to make the most money?
Is it about wellness or the dollar bills?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly. And I feel like, again, we need to establish this as individuals, as people that are self-employed. I mean, we have the kind of balance between we need to make a living and we also need to address that I feel like it's our responsibility and accountability to make sure that we're teaching yoga in places that are open and diverse to everybody.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because if we pour our energy into institutions and companies and experiences and brands that are not supporting this movement or not taking on the notice of what's going on globally, then I feel like that's not practicing yoga.
Yes.
If you know what I mean.
Yes.
And I know it's hard to do. Accountability is hard to do. But yeah, it's definitely a lot of talk in terms of what's happening in the yoga industry. Hopefully I can see a lot of things are happening in terms of inclusion and diversity. I feel like, if I'm honest, we have a long way to go.
Yeah.
And if the last thing, the reason why I say that is because I've really emphasized this year speaking out loud and just speaking in my experiences. And by doing that, you kind of acknowledge, you grab onto the people that have a very similar experience.
Yeah.
And what's happening now, as we know, none of these experiences are necessarily new, but they're all coming out the woodworks. And unfortunately, a lot of things are coming out the woodworks, which means that a lot of companies, people, spaces are being exposed. Which is all, I think it's a positive. It might be a little bit of a mayhem at the moment, but I think it's a positive.
But we find community in our shared experiences, and hopefully feeling in there as well. So it's so important, so important.
It's so important. And yeah, I think the tricky thing is, I think I can speak on my own experience, but I think we've all had a very similar experience in terms of lockdown and being very introverted, and just in the nature of what that does mentally to your brain and what it does to kind of your nervous system, and trying to integrate yourself back into the community or back into integrating with people can feel tricky. But like you said, community is everything. Connection is everything,
Yes,
for sure.
And thinking about that, actually talking about that idea of connection, kind of looking at your work life and your personal life, or your downtime, and I guess your working time, how have you found kind of finding that sweet spot, or like harmonizing some kind of balance or connection between work and like life outside of work?
I feel like I've just learned this lesson like within the last few months, honestly. I had a mission. So if I'm talking personally, like everybody's friends, but I always speak like this. So I had a mission. I really wanted to buy a property in London because I'm from London. So I guess my kind of affirmation or manifestation my seed that I put in a few years ago was to get this place. It's amazing how when you achieve what you've desired to manifest, how your body goes, ugh, like an exhale. And what I realized is, wow, I will never do that again to my body. I will never push to that place where my exhaustion and burnout is like becomes a default and normal. Because that's not normal, and I can say I'm a yoga teacher. I teach meditation. I studied for years, and I'm just beginning to understand just now, the age of 32, a little bit of work-life balance, if I'm honest.
And do you think that is, why do you think that is, actually? Let me ask you, why do you think that is?
It's purposeful, intentional thoughts, and stopping and pausing to acknowledge, what do I actually want? What is actually going to make me feel full, grounded, and happy? Yoga teaching, absolutely with me, but the commuting, the busyness, the pushing, the adrenaline, the momentum, that has to come with a source of balance. If that is not balanced, like I've spent this year, for being open and honest, I think I had pretty much like a nervous breakdown. I had to take a couple of weeks off, and I got a doctor's note. My hormones went crazy. My periods went out of whack. And then I had to stop and think, wow, like, what are you doing? And I can say this, I can say this sharing, like, honestly, like, there's a whole background to this. So I've also been battling with actually a charity which has been racist and bullying for the last year. So I've been battling a very secret kind of really heavy case with my yoga. So that's what I mean about stress.
Yeah.
But I could have held on to that because I've worked for a certain charity for a few years. I could have stayed because I was used to that behavior and used to that treatment for 3 years.
Wow.
And only till I stopped and reflect and realized, it's you kind of have to listen to your body, and that's just a long way of saying I'm still learning, very much still learning. And when I'm in it and I'm in flow and I feel rested, I'm like, yeah, I've got it.
Yes.
And then when I'm crazy, I'm in it, I'm in the craziness a little bit until I stop and realize, well, Letty, find your center. Okay. And that's for me, that's what life is. It's just like this, up and down.
Yes. Well
like what you were
said.
saying about the stillness, that's when we can really check in with ourselves and be like, okay, Wagwan, what's happening? How am I feeling? Check in with life.
The simplicity of it. I think sometimes the connotation behind meditation is quite, it repels people, right? People don't want to address it. But it's just simply that. It's just simply chilling with yourself for a moment. Chilling with yourself. Ask yourself the question without bias, without trying to pretend, without saying a reason for somebody else. You're not got no one around you. Just ask yourself the question, like, what's going on? That's all you need. And the process of asking that question is enough. You don't have to analyze what comes up. You don't have to think or judge what comes up. You don't have to criticize what comes up. Just asking yourself the question is enough. That's enough. That's where it's enough.
I love that, because I feel, I don't know about anyone else, but I know me personally, when I ask myself the questions, boy, does all the noise come like rushing in, you know, I can't even hear, because it's like, oh, the criticism, the judgment, you should be doing, you shouldn't be doing, you know, X, Y, and Z. And it's like, wow, it can get so noisy, and to really just reach a place where you can be still enough to hear, to really hear, without, like you're saying, judgment, without criticism, but just notice, you know, just the noticing is completely different. And
I think as well, once you realize what the chatter is, it takes some weight off the shoulder, as in that chatter is just your brain doing what the brain is there to do.
Yeah.
Your brain is there to create narrative to help you survive in this life. It doesn't mean that we have to be pulled by each thought. The brain is doing what the brain does. Likewise, the body does what the body does. The breath does what the breath does. We don't need to get in the way of the thoughts. We don't need to get in the way of the body. We don't need to get in the way of the breath that's already there. We just have to think that it's there. It's there because the object and the perceiver can't be the same thing, right? So if you are the body, if you are the thoughts, you become them.
Yes.
If you observe them, then you create that space, and you realize that's not me, that's the brain doing what the brain does. That's the body doing what the body does. That's the mind, you know, I think that's what it is. It's just create a little bit of space between your reaction to something and the stimulus.
Yes. The space, so you can, like, who's talking? Is it the brain? Is it my heart? Is it my gut? What's going on?
And I think that really reinforces that understanding that, you know, we are not our feelings, you know, that it brings that space in between, like you're saying.
Exactly. And it's like, we aren't our feelings, but the feelings are there and they're speaking to you.
Exactly.
So we're not saying that these things don't exist and that because they're not completely who I am, I'm going to dismiss them. No, they're there, they're information. And when you decide you want to see them, they will speak to you. They'll say, like, Amma, rest. Eat. Slow down. Do you know what I mean? Just breathe. That's all they do. They whisper to you. And it's up to us whether we're like, okay, body, okay, mind.
Yeah.
Usually we don't give enough space that we just react all the time.
Or even sometimes we hear it and we dismiss it.
Exactly.
Push it to the side. Yeah, I do that too.
I think a common
That's what I'm learning, you know. I hear a lot of things, and my kind of my coding is, but I want to do this.
Yeah.
So that gap is being shortening and shortening, but it takes a long time. It's not like I know this I've learned this information and I can apply it like this.
Yeah,
No.
I
Because
agree.
you've got your programming, your mum's programming, everybody's programming that you have to untangle first.
Yes.
Before you kind of settle into and that takes time. It's a process.
I think that's a kind of woman thing as well. Like we feel like we haven't got time to. If sometimes it's like an indulgence to look after yourself.
Yeah.
It's like we ain't got time. We've got to hustle. We've got to do this. We've got to care for this person. We've got to, you know. And as women, we have that kind of programming as well. And I feel that men are more, I think, not all the time, I'm generalizing a bit, but I feel like they're more in tune with, well, this is what I need and I'm gonna have it. Now.
I
Mm-hmm.
do, even generalizing, but I agree on a general level. I feel like they're more like, this is what I need and I'm going to fulfill that. We can learn a little bit from that.
No, exactly. And then also in reflection, again, sharing, oversharing. But I can look at certain programming that I have. I have programs that I have, and I can look at, like you're talking about women in your family, I can look at my mother. And I've spent a lot of time with her in the last year of the lockdown. And it's just about, again, it's not judging or criticizing. It's just noticing, like noticing certain traits that I got from my mother and my father. It's very interesting.
Same. I mean, I was talking about this recently with a friend, and I think, Layla, I think I mentioned it to you, looking, and again, not criticizing at all my mother, you know, because for me, she's incredible. She's an incredible human. She's achieved incredible things. She's done a lot for us. And I'm so grateful to her. But I recognize that some of my behaviors and some of my framing are based on what's been modeled to me, you know, and I really recognize that there's so much weight in modeling, you know, because that behavior becomes ingrained within you, and then, like you're saying, you have to do a lot of the work to unravel the layers, you know, and reprogram, and that takes time. And so it's also really important, I think, to be aware of what we're doing. You know, it's like the practice of doing it is what's going to change it. Obviously the awareness has to be there, but the practice of doing is what's going to change it.
And that's exactly when you have, I mean, you can slyly get away with, oh, I didn't do this because I didn't know. But once you're aware, then you take account. That's accountability now. You're aware. So the next decision, the next part after that is, I'm aware. So that's my decision where I go and take that information. And this stuff is scary, right? Because one, you're basically taking responsibility. And that's I think that's the hardest thing, is one, being not even confident, but creating these spaces where we can talk about things, like we can talk about our mum without feeling that we're disrespecting our mothers or disrespecting our fathers or disrespecting our partners. It's just observation. Remember, the content is content, but it's just observation. And then we get information, you have awareness of it, and then you can take it on board. You can run with that program, and if you want to, but then it won't change. Or say, I'm going to be the person that I'm going to change that program, and actually I'm going to do it this way. If you want to. I think it's all a choice. It's all a choice if you're invested in it.
I cannot believe how quickly this is going. How is it 29 minutes?
No. I forgot to tell you, I talk a lot.
No, but we love it. We talk a lot. That's why this is like heaven.
A couple of more questions.
We got a couple more questions, if you don't mind.
A bit about family. Are there any rituals or like ancient practices or any practices about well-being that your family have like passed down to you?
The first thing that's come up to my head is no, but then the next thing that's come up is I realized how wicked my parents are over lockdown. Like, I've always known that they're great people, but I've been at my mum's house, and it's not necessarily a ritual, but my mum's house is like an art gallery. And my dad passed away a couple of years ago, but he still has his studio. And I've always taken like his books for granted and things like that. And I went in there over lockdown, and there is so much inspiration in those books, in those art, that I realized on a subconscious level, I've been absorbing that from a child. So it might not necessarily look like a ritual that I've done, but I've been surrounded by creative flow since the beginning. Do you know? Yeah, and it hasn't been said through theory, it's just been lived. They're artists, they live like that. And so I guess it's not a ritual in that sense of well-being, but for them, even when my dad passed, he did his last painting when he was in his bed. So for him, that was his ritual. Art was his ritual. So now I can see in reflection why I've kind of come full circle in terms of my dance performance and yoga, and then back to the art, because I guess that's always been my ritual. Yeah.
Oh, and that modeling, and like what you were saying, Amma, that modeling can run really deep, like conscious and unconsciously.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
And it's quite interesting. I didn't think about that, but it's very true, isn't it? The subconscious things that we just take on board and within our family.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, that was so beautiful. So I was like, I wish I could capture that to literally get it in words. I was like, because I get overly hyped about things, but really.
We'll go for a coffee and we'll continue this.
Yes.
Or we'll have to like do a in real life.
Yeah, absolutely, in real life one.
But yeah, we have to meet up soon.
Yeah, 100%.
I can ask you some questions as well.
Yes, we've so up for that. I can see that a couple of people have popped some comments / questions in the chat. So just working from the bottom before we wrap up. So Sarah Impey's asked, can you tell us a bit more about the play section of your website? It says coming soon. Any hints?
So basically, I'm glad that anybody, I didn't even know anyone goes on my website. It's just me and my own create. So thank you, Sarah, for going. So the play section is going to be all of my art videos that I do. So I have a backlog of footage and my art stuff. The only reason why it's not on the website is because I'm not tech savvy. And I actually, when I tried to do one, it took ages to load. But the play section is going to be all the visual art stuff that I've been doing.
Amazing.
So I'm going to do this. It's going to be the collaborations that I do. So this year is all about my own art stuff, but I'm going to hopefully collaborate with different photographers and movers, and that will be on there. So yeah, it'll be fun.
Delicious. I can't deal with that. Serious levels. So guys, keep your eyes posted, sign up to anything that Letty has so you can stay in the loop. And I love your website, by the way. I've perused it a lot, and the imagery is just banging as well.
Thank you.
Do you have can people sign up to receive updates?
Yeah, if you email me, so it's held.by.letty@gmail.com, then you can be on my mailing list, and then you can get information about the meditations that you were mentioning and my online classes as well.
Awesome.
And there's amazing. Sarah says, so excited for that. And then we got one more. We got two more there. Do you want to read those lists?
Andrea. Oh, where's it gone?
Hey, Andrea.
Andrea, sorry. Hi, Letty. Do you remember how diverse the Brit School was? Wasn't that a great time in life?
No, I must say, looking back on my just studying, Brit School was one of my favorite times. It was amazing. Yeah, we studied together actually. But yeah, it was an amazing time. I think if anybody wants to pursue like a career in the arts, I think it's so important that you kind of just take the kind of leap and be around immersive, creative people. I think that's what the Brit School was, very diverse. And for a young student, being around so many creative young people, it was very inspirational. So yeah, it was a great time.
I can imagine, like, we live in South, and Brit School was always I'm not creative like that, but it just sounded
You are
so
really
wonderful.
creative.
Yeah, but
You are creative.
I am creative.
You are creation.
Say it, sis. Woo!
Come on.
But it sounds like a wonderful place.
Yeah,
for real.
it does sound delicious.
And Andrea asked as well about the piece of art behind you.
Oh yeah, I mentioned it before. No, that's my brother's, but he was just playing around. But
playing around.
Come to my mum's house. She's obsessed with red, so that's why we have it here. But yeah,
beautiful.
Letty,
we've got one final question.
We have got one final question. I'm still. I don't understand why I'm still so excited.
I am. It's the vibration ones.
Yeah,
and
it's true.
Thank you, everyone. Like, it's gone over, and
yeah,
thank you for
sticking with it. Yeah, it's been so gorgeous seeing. We can see that you're there, which is so delicious. Apologies for our camera. We don't know what happened, but like true, creative professionals, the show must go on and all of that. So we're doing it with the audio. But anyway, the good thing is it gives you the opportunity to focus on Letty, which is why we're here. So yeah, we do have one final question, Letty, if that's okay.
Yes.
And it's, how do you stay in your power? How do you stay wild within?
I'm just going to say what came to my head.
Please do.
And what just came to my head is stop giving a fuck about what people think and just do you. That's what I was going to say. That literally, don't give a fuck. Sorry, but that's just that's what you kind of have to have the mindset a bit like that. You just
that is,
I love it.
Sorry.
When you give a fuck, it holds you back so much, and it stills
your joy.
It stills your joy.
Yeah.
It stills
your joy. And I don't believe too much on like looking back too much, but you want to look back and think, I made the most out of this time on this planet.
Yeah.
I made the most out of it. This is a gift. And yes, it's hard at times. Shit is really hard. But I want to look back and I made the most out of this. I have an opportunity to experience this life. 100%. And I'm grateful for it. And I'm not going to give a fuck. I'm obviously going to love people. It's all from love. But it's that I'm just going to brush my shoulders off and I'm just going to be me.
Yes.
Letty,
100%.
Encapsulated everything, and it has been so good having you here with us today, and thank you for being our first guest. Like, we're so hyped, like literally buzzing behind. No one can see us. We're doing the most, and nobody
chair vibrated and chair dancing.
But thank you so much. It's been such an honor.
Thank you.
With you.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
Oh,
say that again, my love.
I just said thank you so much for inviting me here.
Honestly, it's our pleasure. Thank you so much for saying yes and choosing to spend this time with us. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in as well. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your time with us. You know where to find Letty if you want to get in touch with her, if you want to work with her, if you want to find out what else she's got coming up. Please go and connect with her on Instagram. She's at body.by.letty. Go and find her on her website, which is beautiful, which is www.body.by.letty.com. Make sure you go and find us. We're at We Are Wild Within, wearewildwithin.com on the website. And you're watching our YouTube, so make sure you subscribe so that you can watch future Talk by Hearts. Who knows, we might do another one with Letty in the future.
We have to. We haven't even.
Yeah, we just scratched the
intro.
Exactly. This is the intro. Take care, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your full self with us and giving us your time and yourself. We really appreciate you. You're brilliant.
Stay wild.
See you later.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Stay well. Love.
What comment? Did you end broadcast? Oh, we're still live, girl.
We're still live. We're just checking your comments down here. That's the title. So Andrea's saying the Sussel, I've not given a fuck.
Yeah.
So I haven't read that book. Layla, have you read that?
I might have it upstairs.
If you haven't read it, go and find it. I will be finding it on my Audible. I've definitely got some credits on it. Literally, that was the Bible quote I was sent randomly today. Don't give a fuck what others are saying / thinking. Thanks, was really interesting. That's from Sammy. Sammy, we're so glad. We're so glad. You know, Letty is incredible and she's so real.
I can't wait to talk to her again.
Me neither. I know there's got to be more, hasn't there?
So next time we need to fix up with this camera thing.
Yes, guys, we're going to fix up with this camera. We don't know what happened, but technical difficulties. They tried, to be fair, I've had technical difficulties all day. Tried to bring us down, but that shit ain't happening. We will see you next time, guys. Big, big, big love.
Oh, take care. Bye-bye.